Hey, chefs. It is Chef Evelyn here. Happy Monday. First and foremost, I want to send a huge shout out to all the new members in the group. And so if you are new here, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. Please feel free to introduce yourself to the group, and then also make sure that you take a look at how we get down inside of this group. Make sure to be active and interact. But I wanted to come on because we're getting really close to the holiday season, and that could be a really good time for our businesses, right? And so I wanted to talk about how to make sure that your business is successful for the holidays, because this is the time people are eating, people are booking parties, people are doing a lot of things with food. And if you have set your business up properly, you can really benefit from having a strategic plan for the holidays. So I want to talk about the problem with your pricing, because one of the biggest questions that I see in this group all of the time is pricing. How do I price this? Is this too much? Is this too little? All of that kind of stuff. And so I kind of want to talk about that. I actually, just to let you know before I get into my tips on how to see if your prices are right, I actually just created and released a mini course on how to actually properly price your products and services. And I take you through the 6 steps that it takes to really get the right kind of prices for the kind of business that we do in this group, right? So let's get into the problem with your pricing. And if you know that there's another chef in this group who needs to watch this live stream, then make sure you tag them in the comments of this video, or if you're watching the replay, listen, make sure you watch all the way through, okay? Because I'm about to share, or what do the young people say? I'm about to spill the tea. So here's the thing. The number one issue when it comes to pricing your chef services is that most people, maybe you, are pricing it based on what you think people can afford. And so that's a really dangerous way to run business, right? Because affordability is relative, right? So if you think about, there's different high-end brands, low-end brands, everything in between. Affordability is relative. And so what is affordable to one person is a stretch to another, and what's a stretch to one person is a no-brainer to someone else. So the biggest mistakes that I see chefs make, even in this group, when you guys are kind of trying to be the blind leading the blind, right? Which is, people ask about their prices and people are telling you to do stuff for free, or to start with a low cost, or to do like a sliding scale. And that's actually not what you want to do. And where that really comes from is that's a mindset issue about thinking that if things are too expensive, then people won't buy. And I think I've shared with you guys many times before that I actually started making more money in my business when I increased my prices than when I lowered my prices, right? I was getting more sales, more inquiries, more clients when I substantially increase my prices, doing the same thing than when my prices were lower. So the first thing that you absolutely do not want to do is base your prices on what you think people are willing to pay, or what you think people can afford, because that's relative. Okay. The second biggest mistake that I see a lot of chefs making in their business is basing their pricing for their services off of another chef's pricing. Well, how much do you charge? Well, or you're Google searching on the internet, or you're looking at another chef's website. And here is the issue with that. A, you don't know if they're profitable. They could just have numbers up and you don't know if they're actually making money. So we don't know. And so you're saying, oh, this looks like the going rate for XYZ service, and you're basing your prices off of someone else's guess that they probably got off of somebody else, right? So you're Google searching it, you're looking at other chefs, you're basing it on other chefs' pricing versus basing it on the value that you bring to the table, right? So I always tell my chefs all the time, you do not want to base your price on cost. You want to base your price on value, okay? Even if it's catering, even if it's personal chefing, whatever you're doing, you want to base it on value, not on cost, okay? So Google searching, trying to be in the same market as other chefs, that doesn't work. That's not how real business works, right? The other thing about trying to base it off of another chef's business or their prices is, one, you don't know if they're profitable. Two, you don't know what else they have going on in their business, right? That may be bringing them in more money, or what else is going on in their lives that may be bringing them in more money, or whatever situation that they have going on. You don't know the quality of service that they're offering, right? So there's so many factors that go into pricing your services that when you just put a blanket statement out there like, how much should I charge for this? There's multiple factors that go into it. You don't know you don't know who their target market is. You don't know what their marketing strategies are. Like, you don't know all of those things. And so you're just pulling this number out of the sky because it looks like it's about right. And right is relative. One of the examples that I give in my new course, it's a mini course, takes about 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete. It's really, really good. And I walk you through step by step how to actually price your products and services in detail, which I'm not going to be able to do here because, like I said, it's 1 hour and 15 minutes and it's got worksheets and stuff in there. But it's like, there are people who have luxury brands, and then there are people who are like the $1.99 store. And so their strategy around business and pricing is completely different. And so arbitrarily pulling numbers out of the sky or asking another chef that you don't know any of the background of their business and who their target market is futile, right? So what was the first thing we talked about? The first thing was just basing your products and services off of what you think people can afford. Absolutely what you don't want to do. Second thing is that you do not want to Google search or just randomly ask other chefs, how much should I charge for the services, right? And so also, I will tell you that you really need to be clear about what your goals are for your business, for that income stream, particularly if it's the only income stream that you have in your business. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of just having one income stream. Most millionaires have 5 to 7 or more income streams. So at a minimum, we should have 3. Okay, is what I'm thinking as we build to millionaire status, right? And so you don't want to have one service and then it's not priced appropriately, okay? And here's the thing, pricing appropriately doesn't necessarily mean high or low. It depends on your branding, right? It's something I go into in detail in my course called The Price is Right. It's called Price It Right. Do y'all like that name? Price It Right? Okay, it's a little play on words. I know I'm corny, but whatever, okay? So don't assume what people will afford, what's reasonable, all that kind of stuff. Don't assume. And then don't copy other chefs' prices. You do not know the inner workings of their business. Half the time, they don't know the inner workings of their business, okay? And so I would say the third thing is you really have to get clear on your goals for your business, for that revenue stream. And I did this example with one of my clients recently. She was volunteering her services, and y'all know how I feel about free. Don't do free. But she was volunteering her catering services to an organization to the tune of about 300 people. And she was like, oh, but I've been doing it for years. And I was like, listen, I'm not telling you not to do it, but I want you to be informed of what you are giving away for free. And so she walked me through the menu, and there was a couple of different proteins, and I think there was like prime rib in there or just something, and there were some other things and all these different sides. And so we did a cost per person, right? Like, if you were charging this, if you were actually going to charge this menu, how much would you charge? And so when we did the math, you guys, what she was giving away for free was between $10,000 and $15,000 worth of catering services. $10,000 to $15,000. Now I told her, I said, if they asked you to write a check for $10,000 to $15,000, would you do it? Okay, like that's the question you need to ask yourself is. And so when it comes to seeing what other people do when they tell you, oh, start low, start free. Tesla didn't start low. Chanel didn't start low. Louis Vuitton didn't start low. and then build up. You have to pick where you want your brand to be and then build from there, right? So I'm going to share with you guys in the comments the link to the new class. Guys, it's only $97, and you can finally get your prices right forever. Every time you add a new product, every time you add a new service, you can walk through the 6 steps that it takes to actually price your services appropriately and correctly, right? So I'm gonna drop it in the chat in case you are interested, because I feel like it comes up all the time in this group, and the responses that I see people giving each other, I actually believe are most of the time incorrect. And people who don't know their own products and services and how to price it are trying to teach other people how to price their products and services appropriately, and it literally is like the blind leading by. It's like people who don't have a business trying to give people business advice. And while they are well-meaning and while they care and they want you to be successful, they don't know what they're talking about, okay? So you want to make sure that wherever you are getting your business advice, your business coaching, whatever, it's from people who have been where you're trying to go and not people who are still trying to figure it out themselves, right? So just to do a quick recap on, and then I'll take some questions on pricing, have a few minutes, and then I'm getting into my own coaching program. Because I'm a coach and I also get coaching because I continue to grow so that I can help my clients continue to grow. But anyway, let's do a quick recap, and then I want to take your questions about pricing. So first things first is don't assume what you think is a fair price or what people can afford, because affordability is relative. So that's the first problem with pricing. The second problem with pricing is trying to copy what other chefs are doing. Google searching, looking at the websites, asking people who you don't know what the back end of their business looks like. You don't want to do that. And then thirdly is being really clear about your business goals. And if it's the only revenue stream you have, like, how are you going to make that work? So anyway, I would love to get your questions. We can take like 5 minutes of questions on pricing. You can ask me about anything I shared tonight. You can ask me anything about what goes on in this group. You can ask me about the new mini intensive called Price It Right. $97 to solve your pricing issues. The link is in the comments. But what questions do you have about pricing your products and services accurately, or your chef business in general? I would love to answer it for it. We can take about 5 minutes. And also, if you're catching the replay, feel free to drop a question in the comments and I may make another live stream about it. So let me know, do we have any questions? I know there's sometimes a little bit of a delay. Let me know if you have any questions. And if you're new to the group, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Chef Evelyn, obviously, and we're so excited to have you here. So I know we've gotten a lot of people. We officially crossed over the 500 mark maybe about 2 weeks ago. So as you are typing your questions, I'm just excited that you guys are here, and I've got some amazing things coming up. Listen, the people that are in my Chef's Table cooking classes, the Sizzle program, listen, they are going to be so right for next year and so right for the new decade. One of my clients, we were working on like automating her business systems just to save her so much time. So is it Keysha? I want to make Renee. I'm having trouble as far as pricing labor on top of the pricing. Also do the program on that. Are you talking about your labor or people that work with you labor? Because I talk about both, right? I think the biggest issue that we have is we don't know how to price us. Okay, that we know how much the food cost is going to be. We know how much the ingredient cost is going to be. But when it comes to us and our time, I think that's where we struggle the most, which is how much should I be charging for me, right? And my labor and my time, right? Like, you know, if you got somebody working with you for $10 an hour, then you kind of know how to figure that out. But it's like, what should I be charging? Is that kind of what you're saying, Renee? Because I covered that in detail. It's cachet. Yes, so I do. Okay, it's cachet. Oh, cachet. Okay. I was like, gosh, Lord, I'm so sorry. Yes, I do go over that in detail. I spent a whole module. Well, it's 6 steps, and I think step number 3, I go into detail about how to determine your pricing, and then also the pricing if you have people working with you, and how to incorporate all that together to get your final price for your service, right? And then I give you a formula so that you can go back and check and make sure that that's a good number for your business, because a lot of times people will tell us how to price our services, and then they don't really give us like a checks and balance system to make sure that that really fits with what we're trying to do. So the 6 steps that I walk you through, I think step number 5 is, or step number 6, one of those two gives you the checks and balances that after you say, okay, I'm gonna pick this number for me or for the people that I'm working with, and then I'm gonna go back and let me check it and make sure that that feels good to me, and then I feel like that's right. And I give you like some questions to consider on how to evaluate that. So yeah, I go through that in detail. So, and I think that's why I really wanted to create the course. And thank you for your question. Do we have any other questions? And that's why and while you guys are writing your questions, I think that's why I wanted to create the course. I know that's why I wanted to create a course, because that was the piece that I struggled with the most. Is how much do I charge for my time, and how much do I charge with the other people, and how does that all work together with food costs? Because people will kind of give you like restaurant pricing and say, you know, it should be X%. And I think that's great for restaurants and the structure. There's a whole algorithm for how that works. But when it comes to being a freelance chef or a personal chef, or doing kind of the non-traditional things that I do and a lot of my clients do, it gets really interesting, right? So like if I'm working with a brand, or if I'm doing a corporate cooking demo, or if I'm doing a speaking engagement, or if I'm doing like sponsored social media posts or stuff like that, like, you know, or if I'm doing something interesting with a client that doesn't really fall into like traditional catering or personal chefing or something like that, then it's like, how do I know how to price that? And I think the other issue that comes up is that as we start to add new products and services to our business, we also don't really know, like, how does that fit into the business? And then how do I charge for that? And what's too high, what's too low, what's spot on? And I walk you through a process of making sure you kind of know what your range is, and then how to price appropriately within that range. So I hope that answers your question. Cachet. Is it cachet? Yes, I got it. Keysha. I'm still saying it wrong. Keysha. I cannot read today. Listen, my brain is on one today, because that clearly says Keysha. And I was like, cachet. Listen, I am so sorry. This is why when I work with my clients, this is why we do audio and video coaching, because I can see their face, I can hear their voice, I can pronounce their name properly, because I don't like to mispronounce names. Yes. I know you were over here like, can she read? Keysha, which that's exactly what it looks like. I don't know why I made that more complicated than it needed to be. So I hope that answered your question. And does anybody else have a question, or Keysha, if you have another question, I'll take like another question, and then got to get ready for my my group coaching call for the program that I am in. And yeah, so you guys, now if you go to chefevelyn.com I think it's /4 chefs only, then all of my products for chefs are there. So the freelance chef starter kit is there. How to create multiple streams of income in your chef business, aka Chef Space, is there. Price It Right is there. They're also on the homepage right now, but I'm going to be moving them. Cooking classes, the Sizzle is there, and applying to the Chef Table Academy is all, in one place so that you can find it. So, listen, no problem. My next question is, does the program have a certain date, or just something you purchase and complete on your own time? It's on your own time, like I said. And so that way, like if you're super busy and you have lifetime access, it only takes about 1 hour and 15 minutes to complete. So it takes you through the 6 steps. So like if you're ready to enroll, like you could do the work and have your prices set by the end of the week, right? Or reevaluate your prices by the end of the week. So yeah, it's absolutely self-pay, self-study. It's only $97. It's super affordable because I know that that's kind of like the bane of people's existence. And I know for me, when I didn't know how to price my services, I was terrified that either I was going to lowball myself and not make any money, or I was going to overshoot the prices and lose potential clients, right? And so I really wanted to get to a place where I felt really comfortable in my prices, that people weren't trying to negotiate on my prices, that I had a way to justify my prices, which I talk about in the program. I talk about how to justify your prices. I talk about how to not even get people inquiring if they can't afford your prices. So yes, we talk about how to actually calculate your prices. When we talk about how to communicate those effectively and confidently, we talk about, some of the best practices that I do so that people don't try to like nickel and dime me on my prices. Cause I don't do that. Like, I'm not about to be like, oh, can you take this off? And can you do, I don't do that. And so I give you all of that in this course, right? And then also, I take you through some exercises to help you feel confident in your prices, because I think that's the other thing. I think sometimes we know we could be charging more, significantly, 2 times more, 3 times more, 4 times more, but we don't have the confidence to do that. And so I walk you through some exercises to first justify your prices to yourself, so that when you communicate those prices with your potential clients and your potential customers, that you have the confidence. And then that way, because that way they are comfortable with your prices. Because what I have found is that if you are uncomfortable with your prices, then people can sense that, and that's when they want to negotiate you or tell you it's too high or whatever the case may be. And so I have found a system on how to, 1, justify my prices to myself, and 2, to effectively communicate that with people, and 3, to keep the what I like to call the kicking tire people away, right? And so all of that is in there. Listen, it is chocked full. There's worksheets in there, and there's homework assignments, okay? So it's a lot in this little I call it a mini intensive, because while the video content is about 1 hour and 15 minutes, it may take you a couple of days to get through it. So any other I hope that answers your question. And the reason why I made it so that you could do it on demand is because, I'm frozen on my own computer, is that so many of us have different schedules. And when you're freelancing, it's like trying to do a certain day at a certain time doesn't always work. So I wanted something that you could, if you needed to do it at 2:00 in the morning, you could. If you needed to start it and stop it and come back and then watch it again and again and again, which is something that I actually recommend in the course, then that's how I do that. So let me put it in the comments again, just so you can have it. Any last questions before I go? Has this been good? Was this helpful? Let me know if this was helpful. I may be back tomorrow and talk about something else. Okay. But, yeah, let me know if it was helpful. Let me know if you have any last questions before I sign off. And, let me go back and let me read this. Let me read your name. Keysha. So easy. I don't know why. I just want to. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for the info. I'll be in contact very soon. You'll recognize my name. Have a wonderful evening. Yes, I will not forget your name, Keysha. Okay, and have a good night. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye bye.